The demonstration for part 2 of your worksheet. I do want to add one more thing. This is a updated video. So in the previous one, I talked about all the different tools as far as your charcoal pencils and your cubes and your vine, but I failed to mention one other thing that I have learned in the past, and that's called charcoal dust. Okay, so charcoal dust, I have a big thing of this in a drawer. You'll have to come and see me, and I can put it in a little cup like this, but it's just dust of the charcoal. It's really nice to use a couple different ways. You can dip it in like a Q-tip and kind of put it on there. Another great way is to take a brush, just a regular brush, and kind of dip into here, kind of like paint, but you gotta be careful you don't get too much like that. And then put it on that. So it's a great way to get a really, really super light coat of value. Okay, so our vine charcoal does super, super light, but so does the charcoal dust. So it's a great way to kind of paint things in. So I'm going to show you how to use it on this. So what you're going to do is we're going to create a value scale using black and white charcoal because you're going to use this as a reference piece. So you're going to take this size ruler. Okay, so make sure it's the thicker one and it says Blick on it. And it can be 18 inches, it doesn't matter, but I think the smallest one I have is this. You're just going to put it like right in the middle and try to keep it somewhat straight. And you can use a pencil. I'm going to use a pen just so you can see it. And then we are going to mark the top and the bottom of that ruler, the width of our ruler. We did something similar to this in Intro to Art. You're not going to need more than 12, so you can stop at 12. Then you're going to take the ruler and we're going to line it up with the edge of the paper here. Okay, so I'm lined up with the edge. Then I'm going to use the other side and just put marks in between here. Just like that. We're going to go until we have 7 boxes. All right, you just need 7 boxes. So keep lining that up. All right, I will take off points if these are not even and straight. So as long as you are lining up with your first line, you should be fine. All right, so make sure that you are doing that. And I want to make sure that you are listening to the video. We want 7 boxes. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I need 2 more. So you're going to have a little bit of an overhang here, all right? All right, so you should have something that looks like this. Number it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this is going to be a little bit different from our value scale we did in Intro to Art. So in the middle is going to be a gray, a middle of the value gray. That is going to be the white of your paper, or the gray of your paper. So put nothing here. You don't have to write this down. Nothing in this box. Right? Because it's going to be a medium gray. So the paper is gray, it's going to be gray. We're going to use white charcoal this way, black charcoal this way. So we're going to go from white to gray to black. So the first thing we need to do is use our white charcoal pencil. Okay, I think this is the best way to get a really dark. And you're just going to fill this in. And you are going to fill it in all the way super heavy with this charcoal pencil. Okay, I'm not going to fill the whole thing in, but you need to get it nice and even. Fill in this whole area. If need be, take a Q-tip. Don't push down too much because if you overuse it, notice how you start losing the white. Okay, you probably can't see it in this, but if you start using the blending stuff over the top of that, you start losing some of the white. Same thing with your other ones. You overuse those blending stumps, and sometimes they take away the value. All right, so fill in that whole box really, really heavy. Then we're going to continue to use this. We're going to go a little bit lighter. I like to use the side of my pencil like we do in Intro to Art, and we want a medium white. A medium white. So we're getting lighter as we come across because lighter on the white is going to show the gray through, which enhance will make it a little bit darker. So again, go through the whole thing nice and even. If you want, you can take a Q-tip, or I can try to give you a white or a blending stump that you can use only with the white. Okay, so this is very important. Don't take your blending stump I gave you that you use for pencil. All right, so I would not take this because it's got pencil lead on it and put it over here. It's going to mute it. All right, I'm going to show you, but do not do this. All right, so you can see it makes it darker. We don't want that. Okay, so you want a clean one, so I'll give you a separate one just for your white charcoal. All right, the last one we're going to do is we're going to do a couple different ways. I'm going to show you two different ways. So we need a really, really super light white here. We got a heavy white, medium white, a light white here. Do a couple different things. You can take over here, all right, and take the heavy and really, really, really push down, right? And then you can take the Q-tip and get some of that dust off of there and then try to go in with this. And you can't see it, but there is a faint white in there. Oh, you see it, okay? So again, nice and even. So you should see the difference between a really heavy white and then gets, excuse me, lighter as it goes across. You could also use that blending stump that I gave you. I just don't have a clean one with me. And you can also create what's called white charcoal dust. Okay, I don't have a big thing of this, but you can take, I have charcoal sticks, and you can take a X-Acto knife and kind of scrape this off and it creates the dust. So I could create this and go into there a little bit, but you want to make sure you don't have too much on there, and then you can use that. Okay, so you got to kind of go back and forth. So that's that side. Again, we're putting nothing in number 4. And then we're going to go backwards from here. So we're going to go super, super dark to light here. So the darkest one you're going to find, I want you to use one of these charcoal pencils. All right, and again, use the pencil. Nice and clean, nice and heavy. We want it super, super dark. We want to stay. You're going to get graded as far as neatness is concerned and craftsmanship. So super, super dark. I'd be careful with using a blending stump. So you could use a blending stump for this. Again, you use it too much and it tends to lighten it up a little bit. All right, so just be careful with that. So super dark here, fill in the whole thing. We're going to go a little bit lighter here. So I'm going to use the vine on this one. Sorry. And again, nice and neat. And I got outside the edge there, so I'm going to take my eraser here in a minute. All right, that looks just as heavy there. So I'm going to take and try to lighten it up. And I might have got, make sure you don't get one with that you used with the white like I just did. Okay, so don't do that. And we're going to lighten that up a little bit. Actually, I probably went in too heavy with that. So probably what I really should have done, learn from my mistakes. Come over here, charge. We're going to charge our blending stump. And then we're going to go in and get a little bit lighter in here. So we may have to go a little bit heavier. You may have to kind of go back and forth with this. Okay, so this is not a great example, but I do want it lighter than that. But the top part may get a little bit lighter. Okay, so fill that whole thing in. I have a little eraser, so I'm going to erase that out and clean that up. So we want to go super, super light here. This is where I think the charcoal dust will work. So I like using the brush. So I'm going to come in here, but I'm going to get a little piece of paper just so I can get all that extra off. And then I'm going to go in, and I almost still keep blowing that off. And get a little bit lighter through here. All right, so again, I want you to work on getting that nice and even, and then I will try to get an example of this up. Sorry, I don't have one right now. All right, again, kind of dust that off and get that as even as possible. So make sure you can tell a difference between a light, a medium, and a really, really dark. Same thing, really heavy white, a medium white, so you see some of the gray through, a lot of gray, a little bit of white, all gray, light, medium, dark, right? So once you get that done, then you're going to stop and move on to number 3.